Let's roll international. Today we're going to set up the Seirione hall stand. Watch as we put this together and show you how to do it.
If you've watched my videos before, you know the first thing I do is I always set out all the parts, make sure we have all the parts and we know where they are for assembly. Always read the general guidelines you'll see here. There are 6 steps. Start with the parts list. Okay, here we are. Let's get going. We got everything laid out. It does come with a small Phillips screwdriver. However, if you prefer, you can bring your own Phillips screwdriver, which may have better leverage. Step 1. We need 16 of the 5x40s. Plus, we're going to use the 4 foot pads. And we're going to use almost all of the wooden components you see around me. So first it shows to go ahead. We'll start with the most solid piece, the seat. And as this is facing this way, these boards will be facing down because you're going to sit up here. So it appears that these are both cut on both sides the same. So there is no left and there is no right. You can see by the, I forgot what you call it, where you make a larger hole where the screw head fits. They've got that on both sides, on all of the holes. So that's why I say there is no left and right. And these boards provide stability and strength. They're using the hex wrench to put these in. So, it's going to be a long process. Oh, that's not too bad. But I still want them all started before I tighten them all up. Be sure to not throw this away. With time, sometimes screws might come loose, and you can use this then periodically to tighten them up. Now, to get proper leverage to finish it up, I'm going to go ahead and stand up. And I'll give everything a final tightening once everything's been assembled. So that the finish looks the same. The beveling on the slats looks the same. Yeah, I always want to start both these before we tighten them too much. I can see the hole through the hole. Put the screw in. Turn it just a little bit. If you give a little air gap with your fingers here, you can actually see the hole better. I'm just going to give it a couple turns so I can do the same thing over here. In this case, I want them all started before I tighten them down so I can see that I'm going for the hole and I'm not trying to make a new hole. Since these are pre-drilled. Now that we've matched all the screws with their intended holes, we'll go ahead and tighten them almost all the way, and then we'll tighten everything up. Now we'll go ahead and tighten everything down. And we'll rotate it. It's loose, that means it's stripped. So be careful when you're tightening these, but I think that may have to do with the hole they drilled. I did the same thing there too. Jesus. So don't over tighten. But I didn't have that problem with any of these. But beware of that. I don't know why I did that. That may have to be fixed later on. The last step was to put these feet on. Step 2. We're taking the set of four screws that they provided us. Here again, we need the hex tool, not the screwdriver. Line up the holes. I'm going to use my knees to help adjust. You're actually going into a metal screw on this end. So you're not going to have to worry about, I shouldn't have to worry about tightening too tight, it doesn't look like. But I don't want to tighten it too far. I want to make sure I got both holes matching before we proceed. And once you're both started, we can tighten them up. Sorry about the lighting conditions. I'm at someone else's house and you have what you have. I don't have my lights for this with me. That's step 2. Step 3. Let's put the hangers on. These are equidistant, both sides and up and down, so it doesn't matter which way you go. The holes on the sides are also equidistant on both sides, so you don't have to worry about that. The leverage you have, the difference in control you have over this versus this, entirely up to you. You don't have to go out and buy a Phillips screwdriver or plus screwdriver. It comes with one, but I prefer the feel of this one, so that's what I'm going to use. I would actually prefer to be doing this on a table. Hard to see. I guide it with my finger like this to go into the hole. Give it a couple turns so it starts going into the wood. Before I finish that one, I want to start the second one. And then once you're both started, we can go ahead and tighten them up. All right, so we're going to do that 10 times. Step 4 is to take these 2 coat hangers and mount them here. Just like I've always done, I'll lightly screw them in first and then follow up, tightening them after all of them are in, so that way there's no binding going on. The easiest way here, so easiest way there, so for the first one, I can simply put it in through the hole there, give it a couple turns. Make sure your hangers are facing up. You laugh. Same thing over here.
Make sure it's in the hole.
They're both in the hole. A couple turns, make sure that they're actually going in the way they should. And then I'll go ahead and turn them, not all the way tight, but just so the wood's flush. Oh, actually, I'm going to back it out a little bit. I want some gaps so I can see the holes when I put in the second one. Not super tight, just flush for now. Find the holes for these last two. Better to wear shoes so you don't stab yourself with anything. You don't step on any screws, etc., etc. I'm finding it's easier to see the hole through here by having this gap here. I can see the hole in the wood here. I know I've got it there. And I'll do that again down here. Now I'll tighten all 8 screws up, but not over tighten, so we can strip the wood and the screws. Sounds like someone's vacuuming upstairs. We'll have to stop. I think they needed to use a stronger wood, so for the Seirione hall stand, I think a denser wood would have been better. Step 5. We know we've got 3 screws that are stripped. In order to fix that, you probably would need somebody that knows what they're doing, or, I mean, I could make a video on that in the future, but basically the way to fix something like that is you drill out a bigger hole, you insert a wooden dowel with glue, with wood glue, and then you drill your pilot hole into that again, and then you screw into that. That would be the way to fix those that are stripped out. Step 6, we're gonna have to put this into place. Anchoring this to the wall, so that way when people are hanging stuff here, it doesn't inadvertently fall over. We'll see you upstairs.
Okay, we're not going to be able to show you this part, but I can tell you the mistake I made. So initially I drilled a hole with a bit that was too big. So I had to, so what happened is I went to screw it in and it actually screwed right through the wall. So then I had to find an anchor that was a little bit bigger that would fit better and a different screw. So it's always better to use a drill bit that is a little smaller than what you think you need, rather than a drill bit that turns out to be too big. So that's the learning lesson there. So here we are in the mudroom, and this is where we've got the stool set up for jackets and coats and hats and shoes and stuff like that. So if you liked the video, smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and leave a comment below if you got any questions. I can try and answer them the best that I can. Thank you.
Like I say, we will hand screw these all to begin with, and then once they've all been started, then we'll proceed with using other methods here. If we take a closer look at the screw, they're using the hex wrench to put these in.